The projector flickers on, and there it is. My promotion. Except it's not mine anymore. I'm sitting in the conference room, my heart pounding so hard I can feel it in my throat. The slides are projecting my work. 3 years of late nights, weekend campaigns, client presentations that I built from absolutely nothing. Every achievement is displayed on that screen like a highlight reel, except it's not being presented as mine. My brother Justin stands at the podium in the front of the room. His posture relaxed, confident, almost smug. He's wearing a navy suit I've never seen before, the kind that costs more than my monthly rent. The board members sit in a perfect semicircle, nodding along, completely engaged with every word he's saying. This is why I'm extraordinarily pleased to announce, Justin continues, his voice smooth as butter, that Miles Harrison will be taking over the Henderson account and leading our entire expansion strategy going forward. My cousin, the guy who shows up to meetings unprepared, leaves early on Fridays, and has never once stayed late to solve a problem. The guy who got his job through family connections, not merit. The applause erupts like thunder. I watch hands clapping together, executives grinning from ear to ear, people nodding like Caleb just announced a promotion to the CEO position. The energy in the room is electric, and it's all for the wrong person. My phone vibrates against the table directly in front of me. The screen lights up with a number I don't recognize. My hand instinctively moves toward it, confused about who could be calling me right now. I hesitate for just a moment, trying to see the name more clearly. Justin's eyes flick toward my phone for a millisecond. He sees it. He sees the call coming in. And then he deliberately turns his head away, like he's ignoring something he absolutely knows is important. My stomach drops like I'm falling through the floor. He knew this call was coming. He didn't just demote me. He knew exactly what was about to happen, and he made sure I was in this room, trapped, unable to answer. I catch Justin in his private office about 20 minutes later. The applause is still echoing in my ears. The door closes quietly behind me, and the sound feels final, like a locked cage. For a long moment, neither of us speaks. I'm standing with my hands clenched into fists, and Justin is sitting in his leather chair like he doesn't have a care in the world. What the hell was that? I ask, keeping my voice steady even though I'm trembling inside. What was that presentation, Justin? What did you just do? Justin leans back in his chair, completely relaxed, completely unbothered. He doesn't even have the decency to look uncomfortable or guilty. Amelia, sit down. We need to talk about this calmly. I'll stand, I say firmly. Okay then. He folds his hands together on his desk in front of him, like a therapist about to explain something complex to a difficult patient. Miles needed this opportunity. He's been struggling lately, and the family consensus was that he needed a boost, a chance to prove himself in a more visible role. The family. Challenge him. Or you. Did the family actually discuss this, or did you just decide this on your own? It's better for everyone, Caleb says, and his tone is almost soothing, like he's trying to calm a child after a nightmare. Miles fits the image we're trying to build as a company. He's more polished for client meetings, more presentable. You should actually be grateful you get to support him from behind the scenes. That's still a leadership role in its own way. Support him. The words hit me like a physical blow. He's not asking me to mentor Miles or guide him. He's telling me to step back into the shadows and make him look good, regardless of my actual contribution. How long have you been planning this? I ask, my voice quiet now, dangerous. How long? Caleb doesn't answer my question directly. Instead, he picks up a pen and starts writing something on a notepad in front of him, as if our conversation is already finished and over. As if my question doesn't even deserve a response. That's when the full realization hits me. This wasn't a sudden, last-minute decision made in a moment of weakness. This was orchestrated, planned carefully, discussed and agreed upon without me in the room. And the worst part, he's not even pretending otherwise anymore. He's not making excuses or trying to soften the blow. He's just ignoring me. I walk out of his office without another word. I'm standing in the rain outside the office building, my blazer completely soaked through. My hands are shaking uncontrollably, and I don't even know if it's anger or shock anymore. Probably both. The cold water is dripping down my back, but I barely notice it. I take a deep breath and call the number back. A woman's voice answers almost immediately, like she was waiting for me. Amelia, thank God. This is Jasmine Palmer from Platinum Dynamics. We've been trying to reach your brother for the past hour, but he's not responding to any of our calls. I specifically asked during our last meeting to connect directly with you about moving forward with our contract. My breath catches in my throat. Jasmine Palmer. The biggest, most prestigious prospective client the company has been chasing for 8 months straight. The account worth millions of dollars. The contract that could change everything for our company's future. I'm here, I managed to say, my voice barely steady. Good. I'm so relieved, she says, and I can hear genuine relief in her voice. We've been reviewing all the proposals that different teams submitted, and honestly, the only reason we're even seriously considering moving forward with your company is because of your work. Your brother seemed knowledgeable when he was presenting in the initial meetings, but the moment we started asking detailed, specific questions about our needs and vision, it became very clear that you're the one who actually understands what we're trying to accomplish. I'm frozen in the rain, unable to move, unable to think. We absolutely will not sign with anyone else, Jasmine continues, her voice firm and decisive. It has to be you leading this project. Can you make that happen? Can you ensure you're the one managing our account? The world suddenly shifts. We talk for nearly an hour. Jasmine walks me through every single project I've handled for them. The comprehensive market analysis I conducted over 3 weeks, the strategic planning documents I personally wrote, the client presentations I've delivered, the follow-up conversations I've had with their team. She mentions incredibly specific details. Specific recommendations I made. Specific conversations we had about their long-term vision. Specific problems I identified in their competitor analysis. Justin's name comes up in our conversation exactly 0 times. You're literally the only person from your company who actually listened to us, Jasmine says with complete honesty. The only one who actually read our company history instead of just skimming it. Most consultants just see a contract as a number. They see it as a fee. You saw an actual opportunity to build something real and meaningful with us. My hands finally stop shaking. Something shifts inside my chest. Not relief exactly, but clarity. Cold, sharp, crystal clear clarity. This isn't luck. This isn't coincidence. This isn't just good timing. This is leverage. Actual, concrete, powerful leverage. Jasmine is telling me that my work speaks for itself. That she trusts me specifically and only me. That Miles, and by extension Justin, don't even matter in this equation. They're irrelevant. When can we finalize everything and sign the contract? She asks. I pause for a long moment, thinking through the implications. I need to figure out some things at my company first. Give me a week or so. Take your time, she says. But Amelia, I want to be absolutely clear about something. We're moving forward with you no matter what happens. Even if that means we go elsewhere entirely and hire you as an independent consultant. Where you work doesn't actually change who we need. It's you or nobody. After we hang up, I stand in the rain for a few more minutes, just watching the office building's lights flicker in the windows above me. My phone feels heavy in my hand. I could walk back up there right now and tell Justin exactly what just happened. I could tell him that his entire plan is falling apart. I could salvage his career. Or I could wait. Could be patient. I could see what happens when Miles tries to lead an account that was built entirely by my hands, with my strategy using my understanding of the client. Choose to wait. The next morning, I'm sitting in the back of the conference room as Miles leads his very first leadership meeting with the Henderson account team. I'm there to support him, as Justin said earlier, which is a nice way of saying I'm there to clean up his mess before anyone notices. Miles looks confident at first. He's even wearing a new shirt, bought it specifically for today, I think. He probably believes that a fresh outfit is enough to convince people he's qualified for this role. The presentation I built over weeks is projected on the screen behind him, and he reads the slides in order, word for word, like he's reading a children's book. Then someone asks a question about the underlying strategy. Just one question about the core reasoning behind the approach. Miles blinks. His confidence visibly deflates. He opens his mouth. Nothing comes out. He fumbles through an answer that makes absolutely no sense, and it contradicts something he said just 2 minutes earlier. He's trying to recover, but you can see him sinking. I watch the executives exchange looks across the table. It's incredibly subtle, but it's definitely there. That specific moment when intelligent people realize that something is fundamentally wrong here. One of the senior executives leans over to his colleague and whispers something I can't quite hear. But I know exactly what he's thinking because I can read it in his expression. This guy has absolutely no idea what he's doing. Miles tries to recover from his mistake. He's looking toward me now, like I'm supposed to step in and rescue him from this embarrassing moment. I just smile pleasantly and make a note on my notepad. Not helpful. Not critical. Not saving him. Just observing. By the end of the meeting, the entire Henderson team looks disappointed. They came in expecting competent leadership from Caleb's chosen successor. Instead, they've been handed to someone who doesn't understand his own presentation, doesn't understand the strategy, and clearly isn't prepared to lead anything. I watch Miles shuffle his papers together nervously, looking completely defeated. And in that moment I make my final decision. I'm not going to rescue him anymore. I'm not going to stay late fixing his mistakes. I'm not going to save his career. I'm going to let him fail completely and publicly. 2 days later I'm called into the HR office. Janet from HR tries to make it seem casual. Coffee, a friendly chat, just checking in. But it feels like a warning. It feels like a threat wrapped in corporate politeness. Janet sits across from me with an uncomfortable smile plastered across her face. She fidgets with her coffee cup nervously. Amelia, we just want to make sure you're adjusting well to the transition. We understand these things can be quite emotionally complicated when family is involved in the workplace. I'm fine, I say simply. Good. That's what we like to hear. She fidgets more with her cup. We just need to really emphasize something. Family disputes shouldn't affect company harmony or productivity. We want everyone pulling in the same direction, supporting the same goals. Miles is going to need your support, your cooperation, your guidance going forward. And Justin is definitely counting on you to be the bigger person in all of this. I nod politely and tell her everything is perfectly fine. But the second I leave her office, my approach changes completely. I start documenting everything. Every email Justin sent about the promotion. Every conversation. Every moment where he ignored the client's call. Every comment he made about Miles being easier to control. Create timestamps. Take screenshots. I save copies in multiple locations. If they're warning me to be careful, it means they know this situation is already messy. Which means they're protecting themselves. Which means if something goes wrong, they want deniability. I'm going to make sure there's a paper trail they absolutely cannot ignore. 3 weeks later, something extraordinary happens. A forwarded email chain lands in my inbox completely by accident. The subject line is mind-numbingly boring. Board notes, Q4 direction, but the content makes my entire chest tighten with shock. It's Justin, responding directly to a board member's legitimate concerns about the promotion decision. And what he writes is so calculated, so cold, so deliberately manipulative that I read it 4 times to make absolutely sure I'm understanding it correctly. Miles will be easier to manage and control long-term. Amelia has incredibly strong opinions about everything, and she doesn't always align with my personal vision for the company. By strategically placing Miles in this highly visible leadership role, Amelia remains extremely valuable in a supporting capacity, without any of the friction or resistance. She's genuinely brilliant at execution and implementation, significantly less so at actual leadership. My hands literally shake as I read those words. He didn't choose Miles because Miles was somehow better or more qualified. He chose Miles because Miles is controllable, Miles will do what Justin tells him to do. Miles is compliant. And he deliberately relegated me to supporting capacity, not because I lack abilities, but because I'm too independent to manipulate. I have my own opinions. I won't just follow orders blindly. I read it 4 more times to make absolutely certain I'm not misunderstanding the implications. I'm not misunderstanding anything. I save the email to my personal folder. I screenshot it multiple times. I print it out on paper. I back it up to 3 completely different places. My personal cloud, an external drive, and a secure folder on my home computer. If Justin is willing to undermine me this directly in writing, if he's willing to put his manipulation into documented form, then I need to be prepared for whatever comes next. I need to be ready. The next week I change my entire strategy completely. Miles messes up the Henderson presentation deck. The formatting is wrong, the data is inconsistent. I don't fix it. He misses a deadline on the financial analysis that's supposed to support his next presentation. I don't remind him. He sends an email with multiple spelling errors and format issues directly to an important client. I don't correct it before it goes out. I've spent the past 3 years being the person who catches these mistakes before anyone sees them, who stays late fixing things, who ensures every single detail is perfect and professional. I've been the invisible safety net that's kept this entire company running smoothly. Now I'm cutting those strings one by one. And people absolutely notice. The executive team starts exchanging longer, more pointed looks during meetings. Clients begin asking for more detailed timelines and clearer explanations. Projects that should be simple and straightforward become complicated and confusing. The Henderson account, my account really, starts showing clear signs of neglect and mismanagement. It's not dramatic enough for anyone to point fingers directly at Miles and accuse him. But it's absolutely enough for smart, perceptive people to start wondering why things feel different now. Why the energy has shifted. Why excellence has suddenly become average. I sit in meetings and say absolutely nothing. I smile politely and take careful notes. And I watch the doubt grow like poison slowly spreading through the room. Jasmine's email arrives on a Tuesday afternoon. And it's impossible to ignore. Amelia, we need to schedule a serious call about our project. We're quite concerned about the direction of our work. We've reviewed the recent deliverables that your company sent us, and they don't match the quality or the level of understanding that we discussed in our initial meetings. Specifically, we want to know if you're still actively leading our account. If you're not, we may need to seriously reconsider our partnership with your entire company. It's a threat wrapped in professional language and corporate politeness. She's not angry exactly. She's disappointed and concerned. And she's asking for me directly and specifically. I stare at the email for a long moment. I don't forward it to Justin immediately. I let it sit in my inbox, unanswered, for 2 full hours while I think about what to do with this information. If I send this to Justin right now, it becomes a crisis. A full-blown emergency. Justin will panic immediately. He'll realize his entire plan is failing spectacularly. He'll scramble desperately to fix it, probably by forcing me to take over the account and make it look like Miles is still somehow in charge. Or I can wait, can be patient. I can let the situation deteriorate a little bit more. I can let the board see exactly what happens when the wrong person is put in charge of a major account. I pick up my phone and call Jasmine back myself. I'm still here, I tell her clearly. I'm completely here. And I'm personally going to make sure that we deliver exactly what we promised you. Sunday dinner at our parents' house. Mom's made lasagna and garlic bread. And Miles is bragging about his promotion like he earned it. The Henderson account is moving great, he says. Amelia's helping, but I'm steering the ship now. Steering the ship. The account built entirely on my work. The client who specifically requested me. Justin watches my face carefully. His jaw is clenched. He knows something is wrong. I smile and nod, saying nothing about Jasmine's concerns or the missed deadlines. I ask Miles about his weekend and he relaxes. He thinks I'm accepting this. Justin isn't convinced. His jaw stays tight. After dinner, Justin pulls me aside. Everything okay? Everything's fine, I say calmly. He studies my face. You've been quiet. Different. Is this about the promotion? No. And I'm not lying. The promotion isn't what matters anymore. What matters is watching him realize that removing me was his biggest mistake. The Henderson account hits a critical deadline, one of the final deliverables before contract signing. Miles misses it by 4 days. The board calls an emergency review meeting. Justin isn't informed until the last minute. He shows up looking blindsided. Miles gets called into Justin's office afterward. Even through the closed door, I hear Justin's fury. Not disappointment, rage. Because now the board is asking questions he can't answer. And he's realizing putting Miles in charge was catastrophic. I'm sitting at my desk pretending to work, and I can feel Justin looking at me. He knows I could have prevented this. He knows I've been letting it happen. He's starting to panic. I've been compiling evidence for weeks now. Performance metrics, timestamps, emails, screenshots of Victoria's concerns, documentation of every project I led that's failing under Miles. I create a detailed spreadsheet showing every success tied to my work and every failure tied to Miles. The data is undeniable. It's objective. It's devastating. I include notes from our conversations. When Caleb said Miles fits the image better. When he said I should be grateful to support him. I'm not going to scream or yell. I'll let the numbers speak. And they're very loud. A coworker asks why I'm organizing all this data. I tell him it's for performance review purposes. He nods like that makes sense. An assistant quietly approaches my desk one morning. She looks uncomfortable, like she knows she's going around proper channels. Elena, would you be able to sit in on the board review meeting about the Henderson account? For clarity, since you're the most familiar with the details. Caleb wasn't informed about this request. I can tell by the way she's asking. Of course, I say calmly. I'd be happy to help. What I'm really thinking is, they know. And they're about to ask me to prove it. Miles corners me in the break room the next morning. His confidence has evaporated. His hands are shaking. Elena, I need your help, he says desperately. The board is asking questions I can't answer. I don't understand the financial projections. I don't know what Victoria wants from the next phase. I'm completely in over my head. I watch him. This person who accepted a promotion he didn't earn. Who benefited from nepotism while I was pushed aside. And I almost feel sympathetic. Almost. I'm no longer in that role, I tell him firmly. That's your responsibility now. His face crumbles. Elena, please. We're family. No, I say. You're my cousin. And you're not qualified for this job. I walk back to my desk and leave him standing there. He calls me at 11 p.m. on a Wednesday night. His voice is completely different from anything I've heard before. Panicked, desperate, absolutely raw with fear. Elena, we need to talk, he says immediately. Okay, I respond simply. The board is asking me questions about your involvement in the Henderson account. They're saying that you should be leading it. They're asking me why you're not. And I don't. I literally don't know what to tell them anymore. He finally gets it. He finally understands that he made a massive, catastrophic miscalculation. You should tell them the truth, I say quietly and calmly. Which is, he asks desperately. That you chose family loyalty over actual competence. That you promoted Miles because he's easier to control and manipulate. That you deliberately sidelined me because you were threatened by my independence and my strong opinions. There's complete silence on the other end of the line. Long, heavy silence. Then he tries. Elena, if you just help us get through this situation. No, I say flatly. Hang up the phone. The board review meeting is tense from the start. Miles sits at the table looking like a man walking toward execution. Justin is beside him, desperately trying to look confident and failing. I'm sitting across from them, my evidence folder in front of me. And then Jasmine Palmer walks through the door. Everyone looks confused. She wasn't supposed to be here. But the board invited her directly. She smiles at me first. Then she turns to the executives. I wanted to thank Amelia for exceptional work on our account. The proposals, the strategy, the relationship, that was Amelia. She's the only reason we're here. The room goes quiet. She continues. When someone else was assigned to lead, we were concerned. The quality dropped significantly. If Amelia hadn't maintained the relationship, we would have left weeks ago. Justin looks like his blood pressure just hit critical levels. A board member, a woman named Susan, slides a piece of paper slowly across the table. It's the forwarded email. The one where Justin said I'm brilliant at execution, but significantly less so at leadership. The one where he talked about Miles being easier to control. Can you explain this, Justin? Susan asks calmly. Every single eye in the room turns toward him. Justin's face goes completely white. His lips are trembling. He looks at me, and something passes between us. A moment of dark recognition that he's been caught. That there's absolutely no way out of this. That email was taken out of context. He starts desperately. It's actually very clear context, Susan interrupts him firmly. You deliberately placed a less qualified person in a leadership role to have better control and manipulation. You actively marginalized a high-performing employee because she wouldn't bend to your personal preference. And you put a significant client relationship, and the entire company, at serious risk in the process. Justin is opening his mouth, closing it, opening it again. Words aren't coming. He's completely lost. Miles, Susan says, turning toward him. Thank you very much for stepping into this role and taking on this challenge. We're going to ask you to step away from it temporarily while we conduct a comprehensive internal review. Miles nods immediately, relieved honestly that this nightmare is finally over. He stands up slowly and walks toward the door without making a scene. He doesn't look at me as he leaves the room. The board debates for what feels like hours. They talk about nepotism and what it means for company culture. They talk about leadership integrity and what that requires. They talk about client relationships and company reputation and trust. And they keep coming back to one fundamental fact that cannot be denied. I did all the actual work. Justin tries desperately to defend himself, but he can't defend the email. He can't defend putting Miles in charge. He can't defend anything. Susan finally says the thing no one's been willing to say directly. Justin, we genuinely appreciate your vision for this company. But a leader who manipulates his own team for personal control isn't someone we can trust in any position of authority. Susan leans back in her chair and looks straight at Justin with complete seriousness. Let me ask you something directly. When Jasmine Palmer called our company asking specifically for Amelia, and you deliberately ignored that call, what were you thinking in that moment? The room goes completely still. That's when the full reality hits every single person at the table. Justin didn't just demote me. He actively, deliberately ignored the biggest, most prestigious prospective client the company had been pursuing for months because accepting that call would have proven definitively that I was essential. He chose his pride over millions of dollars in potential revenue. Amelia, Susan says, turning toward me with genuine respect in her voice. We'd like to offer you the promotion officially. Regional Director. Complete authority over the Henderson account and all expansion strategy. A salary package that accurately reflects your actual value to this company. Justin stares down at the table, refusing to look at me. I stare back at Susan. And ask, wanting to hear everything. And we'd like Justin to step back from all decision-making authority pending a comprehensive internal investigation into his management practices and conduct. There it is. The moment where my brother loses everything. His power, his credibility, his position, his authority. Could feel satisfied. I could feel victorious and triumphant. But mostly I just feel tired. It happens incredibly quickly after that moment. Caleb's removed from the leadership team within days. His authority is completely revoked. His decisions are systematically audited and reviewed. The company brings in external consultants to comprehensively review his management style and practices over the last 3 years. They find clear patterns: favoritism, manipulation, nepotism, decisions made to benefit family members over actually qualified employees. It's not just about me anymore. It's about an entire system he built where personal loyalty mattered infinitely more than actual competence and merit. By the end of the month, Caleb announces he's pursuing other opportunities. He's fired basically, just with more dignity and corporate language than that word usually implies. The promotion comes with a formal, detailed contract, expanded authority, direct control over client relationships, no board interference in my decisions, no family dynamics allowed in the workplace. It's not just a job, it's complete freedom. I sign it on a Thursday afternoon, and it feels like the weight I've been carrying finally lifts from my shoulders. My first decision as regional director is to implement a clear, non-negotiable policy. No family members in direct reporting relationships, no exceptions, no special cases. It means Miles gets transferred to a completely different department, working under someone else's leadership. He's not fired. He's just separated from the account he never should have been given in the first place. And I implement one more specific rule. Justin is not permitted to contact me professionally, ever again under any circumstances. If he needs to communicate with the company, it goes directly through HR. I'm not being cruel. I'm being clear about boundaries. Some boundaries, once they're broken and violated, can't actually be repaired or fixed. 6 months later, the company has never performed better. The Henderson account has expanded into 3 additional client contracts. Jasmine brings more clients and more business. Revenue is up significantly. The team is stable and actually functional. Miles leaves the company on his own terms, quietly pursuing something more suited to his actual talents and abilities. And Justin, he sends an email through HR offering an apology, asking if we can rebuild the family relationship. I read it carefully and I feel absolutely nothing. Not anger, not satisfaction, not anything. I delete it and go back to work. Because that's the thing about quiet wins. They don't feel like revenge. They feel like relief. They feel like finally being able to breathe. Favoritism feels powerful until competence stops cleaning up after it. And when you remove the safety net, when you let the unqualified person actually fail completely, when you let the system expose itself for what it is, that's when real change happens. I lead this company now, not because I fought and screamed for it, but because I was always the only one actually doing the work. And when I finally stepped back and let everyone else see that truth clearly, there was no argument left to make. Only consequences to accept. The rain outside my office window feels clean today. Cold but clean. I've never felt better.